Here is a simple trick to help you become a more productive writer and more productive in anything else as well. My name is Bruce Ruin. I've been doing this series called Thriving in a Gig Economy. Would you like to learn too? And I like to share these kind of tips because I think they're helpful for somebody who is just starting out as a freelancer and who wants to really become more productive. In today's installment, what I want to talk to you about is something that I've adopted from the author Neil Gaiman. If you don't know who Neil Gaiman is, he's very famous for some of his science fiction writing in books and in the comic book world. He has a big reputation for the Sandman comic book series. He also wrote the book Coraline, which was later made into a movie, and he's won a boatload of awards on top of that. And somebody asked him what his writing routine was, and he said he sits for an hour. He's not allowed to do anything else except sit and write. And if he doesn't feel like writing, he still has to just sit there for an hour. But he says what happens is you get bored sitting, doing nothing for an hour. So you end up starting to type. The next thing you know, you're writing. An hour goes by, you don't even notice. I thought, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. So I started doing that, but I added one little trick to it. And that is I have a visual aid on my desk, an hourglass. And I put it right here, right in front of the computer. And I started. And I'm not allowed to move until that hourglass is empty. Now, I do cheat a little bit because I do have a second screen. And what I'll do is I'll use that second screen to look up the meanings of words and any sort of grammar question I have. But I make sure I only look up that word or that grammar question. I go right back to writing. So I cheat a little bit. I still consider that writing, to be honest with you. I found once I started doing this, I became much more productive because I had it in my head, I have to sit and do nothing else but. I got rid of all my distractions. And it's really worked. Now, there are some people that say it's better to work in 20-minute segments or some other amount of time. But you know what? Here's the funny thing. This is called an hourglass because it's an hour. But you can go online, you can get what they call sand timers in 20-minute segments or 10-minute segments or 15-minute segments, even 1 or 2-minute segments. So there's ways to do it. Pick your time and say, okay, if I got to work on a project, I'm going to work on 30 minutes at a time. I'm not going to work on anything else. I'm not allowed to work on anything else except I'm going to sit here, stare at the screen until I start to do the work. I think you'll find that you become much, much more productive when you force yourself into that kind of routine. Try to do it at the same time every day. If you can do that, then you'll really get a routine really down. I don't quite have that down yet. I sometimes do it in the afternoon, sometimes in the early evening, but I still do an hour every day with my handy hourglass. It's a nice little trick. Some people use kitchen timers, but I don't like that because it's not as visual to me as an hourglass, and I think the visual aid helps me a lot. What's your productivity tip? Do you use a productivity tip? If not, why not? If so, what is your tip? Please comment down below and share this video because I do think people will find it helpful. And like and subscribe because that's something YouTube really wants. And I'll put a link to Amazon for this hourglass in case you're interested in ordering it. Very cheap. It was only a few dollars with shipping. It's no big deal. But you can probably find one at Dollar General or somewhere else as well. Anyway, and until next week, stay productive. Take care.